kind of look like I'm going to a pre-sentencing hearing or something like that, right? And I made some notes because if you don't make notes, you tend to drift away, and before you know it, you're talking about something that doesn't make any sense. So the reason I'm dressed like this is when I leave here, I'm going to go back to my work in the real world and become part of society again. And the first thing that people are going to ask me, of course, when I get to work is, apart from what happened to your hair, they will say, what is it like inside Australia's toughest rehab? And I'll tell them the truth. And the truth is I don't really know, because it takes more than 1 week to comprehend how truly hard it is in here. It takes more than 7 days to understand how much it tests you and how much mental grit you need to stick it out. But I'll also say that in my short time that I know for a fact that not many people could do this. Because outside of the military or a medium security prison, this is about as tough as life gets in a first world country. I probably won't mention the porterhouse steaks that we had on Thursday night at barbecue, or the wood-fired pizza we had for lunch on Saturday, because that doesn't really fit with the whole Australia's harshest drug addiction centre. Seriously, come in, you put on 2 kilos, what's that about? Most people wouldn't last 3 months, let alone 6, 9, 12. And if you're sitting here and you've done 3 or 6 months, well then that 3 or 6 months is a cause for pride. I mean the good pride, not the old life pride. I don't want to get stung with the corrections. So. Look. I got 2 corrections, and Luke is just gagging to give me the 3rd so he can give me a consequence. Peter Lyndon Jones says there's 5 different types of addicts, as you all know, A, B, C, D and E. When you actually go out into the wider world, you remember that there are a lot more than 5 different types of people out there. It's a confusing array of characters that you're going to have to learn to deal with again after being in this very close-knit environment. Now, this is a little hack for you, which I hope you can use with all these people that you're going to encounter on the outside when you're there full-time again. You've got to remember that if you boil it down, there's 3 types of people out there. And these are not my words, I'm stealing them from another one, and I apologise if you heard the analogy, but I think it makes sense. Most people out there are sheep. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I'm a sheep. Sheep just go about business. Sheep account for the lion's share of society. They have mortgages, and they send kids to school, and they volunteer at school fetes, and they don't commit crimes, at least not really serious ones that they get sprung for. They make society be society. We need sheep. There's nothing wrong with being a sheep. Then there are the wolves. The wolves terrorise the sheep. They prey on the flock. The wolves are the world's agents of darkness. They destroy society, they live on the fringes, and I suspect that there are a lot of people in this room that used to be wolves. There's probably a little bit of that animal still inside some of you, both men and women. And the third and the rarest type of character in society, the most important part of society, is the sheepdog. That's the protector of the flock. It's just as hard, just as uncompromising as the wolf, just as fierce if ferocity is called for, but it's a force for good. It's like a white knight or a Jedi. I hope some of you, that's men and women, God knows there are some ferocious women in this room right now. I know I work with them for a day and they put the guys to shame. I hope some of you use your life skills to become sheepdogs because nobody respects the wolf. Fear the wolf, yep. Respect, no. And you guys would know from your old life that if you don't have respect, you have got nothing. Come out of here, do your time, and you will have earned respect. Don't fret it away. It's been too hard to come by. The people at work will also ask whether I found Jesus, whether I saw the light. And again, I will tell them the truth. And the reality is, I have an appreciation for faith that I didn't have before, but I'm not quite there where most of you are. Having said that, there were a couple of weird happenings, which I'm still trying to get my head around. So, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday morning, we were reading Daily Bread, and it was, I've written this down here, Exodus chapter 4, verse 1 to 5. These are the one about Moses turning the staff into the serpent. And the preamble in the Daily Bread, that bit where someone of note will talk about how a particular passage has affected them in life, was written by a woman named, I've written her name here somewhere, Nancy Gallivanes, I think is how you pronounce it, or Gallivanes. So I'm sitting there and I'm reading Nancy's words about how wonderful Jesus is, and love thy neighbour, and I'm thinking, yeah, I got it. And then I read the last bit where Nancy says, and I quote, "A few years after I received salvation and dedicated my life to God, I felt him directing me to lay down my career in journalism." And I'm reading this, and I'm like, nah, this is a setup. And all the guys around the table, I was in Equestria at the time, I'm like, wow, that's a weird, strange coincidence. And I think it was Laith. Is Laith here? Where's Laith? Laith goes, what do you mean it's a coincidence? What kind of an idiot are you? And so I'm still putting it down to coincidence because the other option is just like, and there's enough bizarro world in my head at the moment. I'm not, like Friday night, I was at EQ and we're watching a documentary, The Blue Planet, and I'm sitting there on the couch next to Brent Smith. Where's Brent? Next to Brent Smith, AK-47 tapping the back of the head. Done time in US for some hectic gun running or some such. And we're talking about how good David Attenborough is. And I'm just sitting there going, what is this place? And then the next morning, Stefan, is Stefan here? Stefan sits there and gives us a real life demonstration about the difference between a triple turn in jazz dancing instead of ballet. Seriously. Australia's toughest rehab. Last thing the people at work will probably ask me is, what was the worst part, the hardest part of Shalom House? Was it the hard work or lack of sleep, the cold showers, Des? And again, I'll tell the truth. The worst part of Shalom House was Sunshine FM. I don't care if it sends me to hell. Christian radio sucks, guys. I think it was Kai. It was like, changing a man is one thing, but changing a man's music, that's just too much. So I'll have to go out and amongst the sheep and the wolves and the sheepdogs, and over the next couple of weeks, produce a television documentary and a 5,000, 6,000 word newspaper series about the last few days. Now, I can't write 50 words in a text without PLJ getting pissed off about something, so I don't know how I'm going to go with 5,000. And don't worry about guarding your heart, I'll be guarding my front door. might need you to come alongside me if you get my... So Shay and I've actually got to go and do work now. But Shay and I will be around over the next few days. There's stuff that we didn't get it right. I got some more questions. So you will see us over the next few days, and I will say a proper goodbye. But just thank you for having me. Thank you for trusting us to be part of your life. Thank you.
Really well spoken. Thanks everyone. Thanks. That was awesome, Ben. We're really stoked to have had you. It sounds like you've had a very real experience, which is what we wanted, you to have. As much as we could cram in for the week for you. We do have a couple of gifts for you. So if I could just invite up, I think it's the office first. Yeah, so on your journey, we've obviously, it's a very documented rehabilitation centre.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's
Yeah, sure is.
photographed, videoed,
Mesh,
recorded. But yeah, here's a photo of you with the office crew. Just thank you for your time spent with them.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. That's a good photo.
That's me, yeah.
Yeah. And then we have the men's program as well. So if you'd like to stand up, Jay, just present this one. So you spent a lot of time at the block with Jay. So
Sure did.
thank you for that.
I just want to say a couple of words too, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Yeah.
What you're doing for us and for Shalom, it's massive. You're giving us a voice that we don't have. And just on behalf of the man and myself, man, I just pray and hope you get this word across, get us the help that we need, that we're reaching out for, and just really appreciate everything you're doing, man.
And the ladies program. So we've got D. Thanks, D. D and the puppy.
So, Ben, on behalf of all of everybody at Shalom, there's a card that the ladies that Alicia made for you,
Thank
and
you.
everybody's signed it to show their appreciation. And I just want to thank you. I've been at Shalom a really long time, and I've seen many news stories done about Shalom, but nobody has ever come and actually experienced what we do. They haven't come and looked at what we do. They just take it on other people's words. So we really appreciate you coming out and actually experiencing it, getting to know everybody. And doing a story from what you've seen and experienced, not just what you've heard. We really appreciate it. So I thought that was really appropriate. It says step in and immerse yourself in experience like no other, and that's actually what you did. So
Sure, I
really
did.
thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you.
Appreciate you, mate. Cheers.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, fellas.